Hello, good morning, and welcome to the TikTok Transparency Forum. I'm Francis Stones, and I'm the head of brand safety for TikTok in Europe, and it's my absolute pleasure to be your host for today's event. The Digital Services Act is a landmark piece of European regulation focused on creating a safer digital experience. And today, we'll explain what the DSA means for TikTok, for our community of users, and for you, our partners. The European Commission officially designated TikTok as a very large online platform. And that means we're a platform with over 45 million European users. In fact, over 134 million people across the EU come to TikTok every single month. We've been working towards implementing the DSA's provisions over the past year. To provide some context, over 1,000 people across the business work to get us ready to comply. And you'll meet some of those people here today. It has been a huge effort. So we've grouped the updates into 3 pillars, those in relation to safety, those in relation to transparency, and those in relation to accountability. We'll then be joined by IAB Europe for a question and answer session. We do have subject matter experts on hand, so if you have any questions, please post them in the chat box, and we'll respond to each and every question we receive during the event today. Right, let's start with our update on safety.
I am Pierpaolo Battillo, and I'm the Global Head of Institute of Monetization Integrity. Let me start by sharing changes we have made to our content moderation processes and functionality. Content moderation is the foundation of platform safety and the most important job we do at TikTok. In collaboration with external experts, we developed community guidelines, which are a comprehensive set of rules and standards for using TikTok, informing how we moderate content. We are transparent about our effort to keep our community safe and publish quarterly community guidelines enforcement reports to provide more insight into the efficacy of our efforts to tackle violative content. In the first 3 months of 2023, we removed over 91 million pieces of content, 81% before anyone viewed it. As part of our DSA requirements, we now also provide our community in the European Economic Area with an illegal content reporting option to alert us to content they believe breaches the law. Reported content will be first reviewed against our community guidelines or relevant ad policies if an ad, and removed if it violates those policies. If it does not, a specialist team of moderators and, where necessary, legal reviewers will assess the report and take action if the content is illegal. For example, restricting access to the content in the country where it is illegal. Transparency is one of our community principles, and we want people to understand the reasons behind the decisions we make, so both the person who posted the content and the person who reported it will be informed of the moderation decision, the rationale, and be given the opportunity to appeal should they disagree. In addition, we have built a priority reporting access mechanism for appointees from TikTok's national regulator, known as Trusted Flaggers, to report suspected illegal content. And now I'll pass it to my colleague Delphine, who will take you through the changes we have made to personalize advertising in Europe.
Thank you, Pierpaolo. At TikTok, we take special care when crafting the experiences that teens have on the platform, and that's including the ads they see. Earlier this year, we introduced new restrictions to the types of data that can be used to show ads to teens in Europe, including the UK and Switzerland. To summarize these changes, advertisers are no longer able to deliver personalized ads, which includes ads that use interest and behavioral information based on a user's on and off TikTok activity to TikTok users aged 13 to 17. 13 to 17-year-olds will still be able to receive ads on TikTok, but they will not receive ads which are personalized. So if a brand's advertising campaign does not use targeting or any age limitation, a user between 13 and 17 may be eligible to receive that ad. When you log into Ads Manager in Europe, UK and Switzerland, you will continue to see the targeting options that you are familiar with. If you add interest or other types of personalization, we will automatically limit the delivery of personalized ads for teens. And it's all done in the back end. You don't need to take any action. You may notice that you can select an age range that includes users such as 13 to 17. However, this will not be delivered to those users. Please note that these changes only apply to the delivery of ads to teen users and don't impact any products that you may also use, such as reporting breakdowns. Reach out to your TikTok account manager to understand what that means for your campaign.
Hello, I'm Paul O'Connell, Lead Counsel for Content Regulation for TikTok.
Hello, and I'm Lisa Ball, the Head of Compliance for Content and Safety at TikTok. Transparency is core to DSA compliance, so our users and our regulators can have confidence that we're doing the right thing. You've already heard about some transparency changes we've made, such as providing our community with more context into the moderation decisions that we make. Paul and I will now take you through how we're meeting all our new DSA transparency obligations.
The Commercial Content Library and Commercial Content Labeling will provide our community with greater clarity around commercial content. When it comes to commercial content labeling, we already provide the branded content toggle, which enables creators to disclose their paid partnerships with brands. To make it clearer to our community what content is commercial in nature, we now offer a wider range of content labels that individuals and businesses can tag to their content. The label options are as follows. Ad-sponsored, so that content paid for by advertisers is clear. Paid partnerships, which is commercial partnerships between an individual and a brand. And promotional content, which is content by an individual or a business which is used to promote their own brand. A new toggle is also available called in the Content Disclosure and Ads page of your TikTok business account, which will apply the promotional content label to your organic content. The Commercial Content Library is a database which shares information about ads on TikTok. The library features information about ads TikTok is paid to display to users. Information such as the advertising creative, who paid for the ad, the dates the ad ran, and the main parameters used for targeting will be shown to users. The library will also include content that promotes a brand which TikTok is not paid to display, so content that is now required to be labeled as promotional content. Over the next few months, we will be adding more features to the library, which we will update you on through our newsroom and dedicated newsletters. I now want to talk to you about recommender systems. Recommender systems are a part of everyday life, from music players to recommending new artists to supermarkets sending you personalized offers. At TikTok, we use recommender systems to determine what content gets shown in a person's For You feed. To keep the For You feed entertaining and safe, we use age-restricted content for the more mature content. We give our community control over their recommendations, we explain why you see the videos you see, and we allow people to refresh their recommendations, which lets them view content as though it were brand new content the first time they came to TikTok. But going forward, we'll now allow users in Europe the option to turn off personalization so that their For You feed and their live feeds are to be replaced with feeds that recommend both locally relevant and globally popular content, rather than just content that is based on their personal interests. Similarly, when using non-personalized search, users will be able to see results made up of popular content from their region and in their preferred language.
Thanks, Paul. I mentioned earlier that transparency is important as it shows how our moderation and compliance efforts are performing. The DSA sets new standards and they're not required anywhere else in the world. So at TikTok, we've been working really hard and we're keen to show you the results. But first, what do we already do? For the past 4 years, we've released quarterly community guidelines enforcement reports. These reports detail how successful we've been at removing content which violates our policies, and they provide visibility into content removal requests and privacy. The new part is that in addition to this, we'll also publish a DSA transparency report. This will go into even more detail, and it will provide further insights into our content moderation activities and outcomes, such as how often our decisions are successfully appealed. And what else have we done? We built an API to give research access to European academics looking at our public data to research content and accounts on our platform. We're also participating in a trial so that we can get ready to provide even more granular data to selected researchers from next year. And turning to another advertising-specific issue, Paul spoke earlier about the Why This Video function. We also have an About This Ad feature, and that provides our community with information about why they see the ads that they see. And to make it easier for you to keep up to date on all our progress, we've launched a new European Online Safety Hub. This will be a one-stop shop where anyone can learn about the measures we've put in place to keep our community safe. We'll share the link to the European Online Safety Hub in the post-event communications. And of course, our work does not begin and end on day one. We've hired key personnel and we've ring-fenced resources from across the business to ensure future compliance with the DSA. And we'll continue to enhance our transparency efforts. We've established a new compliance function to ensure that we meet the significant obligations of this landmark piece of legislation. A key objective of the DSA is to give users of digital services even greater insight into the work that we do to keep them safe and to provide them with additional tools and ultimately greater choice over their own experience on the platform. And as we continue on our journey of compliance, we'll strive to embrace the spirit of transparency and user empowerment that the DSA sets out to deliver to users and communities across Europe. Thank you for listening to our updates, and please do get in touch through your TikTok contact or through the chat function available today if you have any questions.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Franck Thomas. I'm policy lead at IAB Europe. IAB Europe is the trade association representing the digital advertising ecosystem. I'm really delighted to be here for this panel. A few weeks ago, the DSA entered into application. It was a big moment with high expectation from EU regulators, but also from the business community, and in particular the advertising community. So the main objective of the DSA is to fight against the dissemination of illegal content online. But that doesn't cover legal but harmful content. Legal but harmful content is a contested concept with different legal but also cultural approaches across Europe. But when you are an advertiser, you don't want your ads to be associated with harmful content, whether it's legal or illegal. My question to you, Delphine and Pierpaolo, how did you address this concern?
Yeah, thanks, Franck. I'll take the first part and maybe I'll let Delphine talk about the brand safety piece for our clients. But I'll start by mentioning this definition of integrity, which I love. I didn't come up with this definition, but integrity as doing the right thing when nobody's looking. So with that principle in mind, we design ad policies that already extend beyond what is just purely legal content and extend over harmful content in general. And I agree with you that that's a contested, disputed, and concept that varies across region. I will not go into detail over the individual policies, but I would welcome everybody to check them online. They're publicly available to everybody. What we also do on top of that, we allow users to report what they believe is harmful content for them, and we use that as a signal to take another look at content that we might have let through in the first instance. That's a buffer mechanism that we use to make sure that the content is truly allowed on a platform and not violative. And then for the brand safety element of it, maybe Delphine, you can add in terms of the product functionalities.
Sure. Actually, it's a really good question, Frank. And we really do understand that brands don't want to be associated with harmful content online. And I'm sure that everyone and every advertiser has a different threshold of comfort, and therefore expectations of everyone are actually quite different. So we need to be able to offer advertisers a different set of solutions to cater to their needs. On brand safety in particular across Europe, we partnered with industry partners. We partnered with third-party brand safety and suitability partners such as Integral Ad Science, Double Verify, and Zephyr. And recently, we actually worked on our first-party solution called the Inventory Filter, which to date is our most flexible option that we offer to advertisers. And it's actually quite interesting because what it does is that it actually leverages machine learning to enable the brands to really decide where their ads can show. And it really helps advertisers build their confidence with our platform. So we spend a lot of time working with third parties, like I said, and we're also confident that our first-party solution is catering to the most specific needs of our advertisers. So it's really important that all our advertisers are actually aware of what's available to them so they can pick the solution that's more catered to their needs. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Delphine. If I can turn to you, Pierpaolo. You know that the DSA requires TikTok to provide full transparency of those who are advertising their products on your platform. But the new legislation doesn't force platforms, including TikTok, to identify the advertiser before he can advertise on your platform. Do you think it's really enough to fight against the spread of fraudulent ads? And what is TikTok doing to address this?
Yeah, on the topic of fraudulent ads, I'll draw the attention on our core strategy about how to combat fraud, right? And as I said before, our effort is to protect our community by proactively taking down as much content as possible, harmful content, including fraudulent ads, before it gets even viewed to the users. Now, in order to do that, we have product solution, policies, processes in place that tackle the problem from multiple angles. It needs to be said that bad actors and fraud is an adversarial world, and bad actors are always trying to be one step ahead. All right, so in that vein, what we built is also a system of multiple reviews before the content gets live, but also after the content goes live. As I mentioned before, user report is a great source of learning for us to tell us where we might have gone wrong so that we can constantly iterate our systems, processes.
Okay, thank you, Pierpaolo. Let's be a bit more specific on transparency. So, if I can turn to you, Paul, for the largest platforms, such as TikTok, the transparency obligations are stricter. So, for example, you need to establish this inventory of ads that are displayed on your platforms. But this will make publicly available some type of information that could potentially reveal some, I would say, confidential information about the commercial strategy of advertiser. So my question is to you, how did you address this concern, and how do you protect actually the confidential information of advertiser?
Yeah, I think, look, that's obviously, the confidences of our advertisers is incredibly important to TikTok, and we strive to protect the confidential information that they do share with us. I think the reality is that the DSA brings in new levels of transparency that we've never seen before. It's effectively radical transparency. And so we and our advertisers are having to be more transparent and provide disclosure around aspects of their advertising that have never had to be disclosed before. So what we have done is to provide transparency around the aspects of the DSA that we are required to provide transparency to. We're not going beyond the law. We're only providing transparency on the very specific aspects that the DSA requires us to do so. And I'm sure advertisers will understand and accept that we as a platform have to abide by the law, and in meeting the requirements in doing that we're not kind of expanding on the disclosure beyond what we're absolutely required to do so. And we won't be putting in any information beyond what we're legally required to do. Okay, fair enough. Let's move on to another topic. When I was following the previous session, so you spoke a bit more about the changes to your for your feed in Europe, these product features. And for example, I'm living in Brussels, so I'm a Belgian user of TikTok. So
as I understood, now I will be able to see the popular content in chronological order rather than through personalized recommendation. My question is, what will be the impact of this product change on small communities, on very niche communities?
Look, I think that's an important question, given what the audience of TikTok come to. They come to the platform for very personalized, focused content, and now having to provide a recommendation system that allows us to go to popular content, you can see how that might make people nervous. The reality is, I think it's too soon to say what impact that will have. But what I will say is I would expect that the vast majority of our users will remain within the personalized experience. It is the unique aspect of TikTok. It's what people come for, is personalized content to them. So whilst we can't say for sure that we'll have X number of people moving to the popular feed, I think, given the nature of the platform and the nature of the content, people will stay within the personalized feed most broadly. And I think the reality as well is just because something is niche doesn't mean it won't be popular as well.
Thank you, but I would like to be a bit more specific. Is the part of the panel where I'm going to put you on the spot. Yeah. So how much of your audience are you expecting actually to adopt this non-personalized feed? Do you have any prediction on this?
No, we have no prediction on this. And I think it's something we as a platform and the company are keen to see what the level of uptake of this option will be. As I've said already, I think given the whole ecosystem of TikTok is personalized content. What I personally enjoy about TikTok is that it serves up the content that I'm interested in, not that someone who has totally different interests to me is interested in. So I do think it'll be interesting to see what actually happens in practice. But I think given the nature of the platform, I really would expect most people to stay within the personalized feed. But look, we're providing the option and we're giving people the popular feed and we're complying with the law in the same way.
Right. Listening to your comments, I really understand that this process has been a long journey and it is not over. Maybe if I can turn to you, Lisa, from your seat as head of compliance, what are your plans for the compliance for the coming month and what can we expect to see from TikTok next?
Thanks, Frank, and that's a really great question. I think you've started me off really nicely by saying that we've done a lot so far and we've worked really hard as a cross-functional team across TikTok to build what we think are really strong foundations for compliance. It builds in a way that Pia Paolo and Delphine have already mentioned on existing things that we already did, but we're obviously augmenting and uplifting everything so that we meet the compliance standard. And it's really important that we're going to be able to demonstrate to all of our communities, whether that's users, civil society and researchers, whether that's advertisers and the regulators, that we've done that and we've done it the best way that we can. So one of the first things that's coming up, I mentioned it earlier, is our first transparency report. That's coming later on in October. We've also completed all of our systemic risk assessments and we'll be sharing the output of that with the Commission as well. And so it'll be really important as we move forward to continue to engage with all of our stakeholders that I've mentioned so we can learn how we're getting on. The data we're going to get from our efforts so far, like Paul mentioned, that's going to inform our approach as we go forward. And what we're looking to do is take that strong foundation and continuously improve and iterate, as Pia Paolo said, to do the best for our communities. And the last thing I'd love to just add to that, I know you didn't ask me, but one of the things that has been fantastic about this program at TikTok is the passion that everybody has had to do the right thing for all of our communities. And we really hope that comes across as people start to enjoy the results.
Thank you. What is really striking from your intervention, it will be a very iterative process actually for the coming years. So we talk a lot about the compliance challenges that TikTok is facing and also other content platforms, but we didn't talk much about opportunities. So what can we see? What can you see as the main benefits of or opportunities that the DSA could bring? So it's a question for all of you.
I would actually bring it back to the recommender systems and the popular feed. So as you were saying earlier, we don't know what the uptake will be amongst the audience, but actually it could provide us an avenue to a new audience, to people who want to have just popular content and not have a personalized experience. So actually that could be an opportunity.
You go ahead.
I mean, I would say the transparency piece might help set a bar about what great looks like. It might create a virtuous circle about between users and clients in terms of mutually reinforcing behavior between compliant and engaging content.
Yeah, and I think actually it was great that you went first, Pierpaolo, because my point is about how that's going to help build trust. This is just a fantastic opportunity to demonstrate what we've done and the hard work we've put into becoming compliant, being accountable, and being transparent. We really hope then that our advertising community will feel like they can spend with us and our users can feel confident spending time with us.
Okay, great, thank you. I think it's time to close this debate. Again, many thanks to Lisa, to Delphine, to Paul, and to Pierpaolo. And I hand over to Francis to close the event.
So that's it for today. We'll share a roundup of all the content that you've heard, including a link to the recording of the event with you via email. I'd like to thank all of the speakers today, but most importantly, I'd like to thank you for taking the time to join us. We'll be back next month with another Transparency Forum, and that's on Project Clover, and that is our data governance strategy for Europe, so please do sign up to attend that. Until then, thank you and goodbye.